Hey guys, so this morning I got up at 3 a.m. to smoke a pork shoulder. First things first, had to get it out of the fridge. And I spiced it up the night before, so I had time to soak into the meat. And I did cross-hatch the top of the shoulder. Went out, fired up the grill, put it at 225, and then went back inside to give it some time to heat up. Naturally I needed some coffee because it was pretty early, so I made a couple of cups of coffee here in the old Keurig. Got that all fired up and got my coffee made. And then I went back and I checked on the heat on the grill again. When you fire up your grill, I always leave the lid open so it doesn't have a little flame up. I've seen some smokers, as soon as they light up, it just kind of blows the lid up. So when I went back outside and checked on it, it was firing up, so at 135, so I closed up the lid and went back inside, got the pork shoulder, brought it out and put it on the one side of my grill because my hot spot of my grill is right in the center. So I moved it as far away from the smokestack as I could, inserted a probe the best I could, and got it all comfy for a good long day of smoking. And it looked pretty good even before I lit up the smoker. Then I sat in the hot tub, monitored the temperature closely from the hot tub, which was nice. Sat there, kept looking over at the smoker and watched the sunrise. One of my favorite things in the world is to see the smoke coming out of that exhaust there, and just the smells that come off of it when it starts to smoke. Popped it open, took a little look at it, and it was starting to bark up pretty nice. It looked really good. So when it gets up to about 160 degrees, I pull it off the smoker and take it inside. Put it in a pan, and then I cover it up with foil. I do a little extra spicing, so I get some spices out. And the same stuff I've used it's a smokehouse rub I get from Winco. And then I took a stick of butter, chopped it all up, and rewrapped it up once the butter's on there. So here I am spicing it a little bit. Not a ton, just enough to get in those cracks once that crosshatch starts to open up a little bit from the heat and that fat starts rendering down. And then I cut up some butter and put some pads of butter on top. Here in a minute, here you'll see that. Some people use different things, apple juice, and just spritz it. I prefer butter. I just feel like it gives it more moisture in there, keeps it nice and moist. And then I add a little liquid into the pan too. Sometimes I'll use cherry Coke. Today was a strawberry Dr. Pepper. I just added maybe not even a half a can, maybe just a quarter of a can. And I think that helps without, on the bottom of the foil tray, not to burn that meat down there or get it too hot and stuff. It keeps it pretty viable. I was having a little bit of problem with the butter there staying on. Usually I'll take it out, but I forgot to take it out, so it was cold and it's okay. But so I got all that on there and got ready to rewrap it here. You'll see put some of that Dr. Pepper on there too. My So let's see, put the knife in the sink, and then I will pour a little Dr. Pepper in there. And as you can see, of course, I forgot it over in the pantry, so I had to go to the pantry, pull it out of the pantry. Put a lot in there. I just put enough to put a little bit in the bottom of the pan. It's the strawberry flavor, Dr. Pepper, and just put a little bit in the bottom of the pan just to keep it in there, you know, to help. I feel like it helps with the flavor a little bit when you use something to break down the meat a little bit. And then I get out the foil and rewrap it. I should get some larger foil. A lot of people use the butcher paper, but I prefer foil because it's cheap and accessible. I don't know how much of a difference it makes, but I like the foil. So I get it all wrapped up, make sure every bit of it's covered up on top to hold that heat in there once you get it back on the grill. And so get all that ready to go, nice and tight, and took it back out to the grill, placed it in there. I opened up the side of the foil a little bit, and I put the probe back in. I don't like to poke it through the top because I don't like to puncture the top of the foil. I like to put it up underneath and stick it back in a nice big part of the shoulder. So do that, and I'm going to close her back up again once everything's all nice and neat. And I keep it on that side of the grill because that's where the less heat is. So I'll cover all that back up and good to go. So after it gets to 206 degrees, I pulled it off the grill and got it ready to wrap. There's a lot of juice in there, and I saved that for later. You'll see what I do with it. But right there, it's looking pretty good. So I lay some foil out on the table, get it out of that pan, and I lay it down on the foil. Lots of juice there. So there is it sitting on the foil. Now I don't show it, but I wrapped it all up really tight, and I put it out in a cooler for 2.5 hours. Brought it back in, and then it's so tender it just shreds really easy. It's about 100, and I usually wait till it's about 145 to 150 before I start tearing it apart. What I do is when I got the crock pot out to keep it warm, I put that juice that I saved from the pan in the bottom of the crock pot, and I turned it on low, or warm, just enough to keep it warm. And then as I shred it, I put it down in that juice. Once it's completely shredded, I will take a spoon in there and stir it all up and use the juice in there to keep it moist. So this took me from 3 a.m. till when I'm shredding it here was about, it was probably about 3 o'clock, 3:30. This was a little over 9-pound pork shoulder, and it gave me a full crock pot full of meat at the end, you'll see. And then what I do is I let it stay warm in there, and I just stir it until it's time to eat, and then everybody can, make sandwiches with it or whatever, and add their own barbecue sauce if they would like. I will pull some off tonight after dinner, and I will save some for some tacos maybe later. I like to take some to my mom and dad. They don't do a lot of cooking these days, and share some of that with them. Anyways, I appreciate you watching this video, and I'm going to try to make some more. If you enjoyed this video, please press like and subscribe and follow me for more. Thanks. Have a great day.